Some wounds take years to close. Some stories are buried so deep, they echo across generations. But today, we open one of them. Welcome to the Bible Character Podcast. I'm your host, Delight, and this episode is different. We don't just have one guest today, we have two. Two brothers, one story, but two very, very different sides. He was born first, strong, hairy, wild, a hunter, a man of the field. His name is Esau. And then came the second, holding the heel of the first, quiet, clever, always reaching for what wasn't his. His name is Jacob. They shared a womb. They shared a home, but they didn't share the blessing. Today, for the first time, Jacob and Esau sit in the same room, and they're ready to talk, to tell the truth, to say what they never said, face to face. Don't move. This is about to get real. Esau, Jacob. Welcome to the show.
Childhood. Those were some good days. We were twins, born only moments apart. But I came out first, strong, covered in red hair. They called me Esau. And from the start, I loved to run, to move, to chase things. I remember the fields, the sound of goats in the distance, the sun on my back. I'd run after rabbits, climb trees, and sometimes fall off them too. And Jacob, well, he wasn't far. He liked staying near Mama, near the tents. But he was always around, always neat, always clever. He was quieter than me, more careful with his steps. But we laughed together. We wrestled in the dust. We shared food from the same bowl. And when it rained, we'd sit under the same cloth, knees pulled up, telling silly stories and arguing about who was older, as if a few seconds made me more important. Truth is, I didn't care. He was my brother, and I loved those days. We were just boys, and life was simple.
Jacob, what was going through your heart as the younger twin? You heard Esau now, the outdoors, the blessing, the lead. But what did you feel growing up next to someone like him? That's beautiful, Esau. Two boys, one just a few breaths ahead of the other. Jacob, you heard that? What do you remember about growing up together?
I remember the smell of stew in the evening, the way Father would come home from the field, tired but smiling. Esau was always the loud one, jumping, shouting, bringing in something he'd caught or chased. Me, I liked quiet corners, sitting near Mama, asking questions, watching how she cooked. But when Esau ran past me, shouting my name, I'd drop everything and follow. We made up games. He was always the strong one, but I learned how to trip him when he wasn't paying attention. We laughed till we cried, and at night, before sleep, we'd lie down side by side under the same animal skin, looking up through the roof of the tent, counting stars, dreaming of who we'd become. We were just two boys, and in those moments, it didn't matter who came out first.
But something changed, didn't it? There was a moment, simple, ordinary, that turned into something big. Esau, let's go back to that day. The stew, the hunger, the deal. Tell us what happened, from your view.
That stew. I still remember the smell. Thick, rich, spicy, lentils with garlic and oil. Jacob knew how to cook. I'll give him that. Sometimes I'd joke that Mama must have passed all the kitchen skills to him. I had been out hunting all day. The sun was cruel that day. Every trail was dry. The animals were silent. Nothing moved. And I came back empty-handed, legs aching, head spinning. I was hungry. No, I was starving. Then I saw him, sitting by the fire, stirring that pot like he was painting a masterpiece, and the smell hit me like a slap. My stomach growled out loud. I said, "Please, give me some of that red stew." And you know what he did? He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Sell me your birthright." At first, I laughed. I mean, really, what kind of question is that when a man's about to faint? I said, "What good is a birthright to me if I die of hunger today?" I didn't mean it like a contract. I was just desperate. I gave him the word, and he gave me the stew, and I ate, and I left. That was it. At least that's what I thought.
Jacob, you remember that day too, don't you? What was going through your heart when he asked for the stew?
I remember the sound of his footsteps before I even saw him. Heavy, dragging, like he'd been walking through the sun for years. I looked up, and there he was, red-faced, breathless. He didn't even say hello, just stared at the pot and said, "Let me eat." And in that moment, something stirred in me. I thought about all the times I was second, all the times Father looked past me, all the moments Esau was first in line, first to speak, first to be praised. And then I spoke. "Sell me your birthright." It came out before I could stop it. I said it calmly, but inside I was shaking. When he agreed, my hands moved fast. I gave him the bread, the stew, everything, but my heart was racing. I knew what just happened. I didn't just feed my brother. I made a trade, a quiet, careful trade. I didn't know what it would lead to, but I knew that day everything had changed.
There's something different about words, and something very different about a blessing. Esau, you gave up your birthright, but what happened next wasn't about hunger or heat. It was deeper, more final. Tell us. That day, the blessing.
That day, I'll never forget it. It started like any other. The sun was rising, and I went out to the field. My father had called me earlier. He said, "Esau, my son, I'm old now. Go, hunt something for me. Make me a meal, just like I love. Then I'll bless you before I die." It wasn't strange. That was our way, and I was happy to do it. So I went. I tracked down an animal, prepared it, seasoned it the way he liked, all the while thinking, this is it, my moment, the blessing of the firstborn, my father's last words over my life. But when I came back, he looked at me, confused, shaking. He said, "Who are you?" I laughed at first. "Who am I? I'm your son, Esau, your firstborn." And then, his eyes, they changed. His whole body trembled. He whispered, "Your brother came. He came in deception. He took your blessing." My heart, it dropped into the floor of that tent. I couldn't breathe. I said, "No, Father, no. Bless me too. Please, bless me too." But it was too late. The words had left his mouth. They had landed. They had taken root. Jacob had them, and I had nothing. I cried. I wept like a man breaking in half. Not because of the stew, but because this time, something eternal had been handed to someone else, and it should have been mine.
Jacob, Esau just gave us his pain. Now give us your truth. What happened? And why?
It wasn't supposed to go that far, but when Mama came to me, her eyes were already set. She said, "Your father is about to bless your brother, but I want that blessing to come to you." I hesitated. I said, "He'll know. I'm not hairy like Esau. He'll curse me if he finds out." But she said, "Let the curse fall on me." She was firm, so I did it. I dressed in Esau's clothes. She covered my arms and neck with goat skin. She made his favorite meal, and I carried it in. Every step felt like a storm in my chest. But when I entered the tent, he couldn't see well. He said, "Who is it?" And I said, "I am Esau, your firstborn." Even now, those words burn on my tongue. He touched my arms. He smelled my robe. And then he blessed me. He laid his hand on me and gave me what belonged to my brother. The dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, nations bowing down. It all poured out like oil from a jar. And I said nothing. I didn't stop him. I didn't confess. I let the moment pass. And when it was over, I left. I thought I had won, but when I saw the look on Esau's face later, I realized I didn't win. I lost something too. I lost a brother, and I knew I couldn't stay.
And so it happened. The blessing was given, the words were spoken, and one brother stood empty. Esau, after that moment, what happened in your heart?
Everything changed. I wasn't just angry. I wasn't just hurt. I was undone. Have you ever watched a house being taken apart, brick by brick? That's what it felt like inside me. One moment, I was a son, a hunter, the firstborn, the one who would carry the name, the land, the promise. The next moment, I was just Esau. No blessing, no future, no voice in my own house. I cried in front of my father, loud, bitter sobs. I begged him, "Do you have even one more blessing, Father? Anything? Please, just speak over me too." But he said, "I have made him Lord over you." Those words, they crushed me. I walked out of that tent with tears still on my beard, and something dark started to rise in my chest. I said to myself, "The days of mourning for my father are near, and when they're over, I will kill my brother." That thought stayed with me, day and night. It became my pillow. It became my food, not because I was born violent, but because I had been emptied, and no one knew how to pour me back together.
Jacob, you didn't stay. You ran. What were you running from?
Everything. I ran from my brother's eyes, from my father's silence, from my own guilt. I didn't even pack properly. I just left. Mama told me to go. And to her brother, Laban, she said it was just for a while, until Esau's anger cooled. But I knew I had caused something I couldn't fix with words. I had stolen something that couldn't be returned, like a coat or a coin. On the road, I had time to think, and every thought cut me. What have I done? Why did I let it go this far? Yes, I had the blessing, but it felt cold in my hands. The blessing didn't warm my tent. It didn't fill the empty space where Esau's laughter used to echo. It didn't hold back the silence in the nights that followed. I was alone, blessed, but alone, and I missed him. I missed the boy who used to chase goats through the fields, the brother who would nudge me during meals to sneak an extra piece of meat, the boy I wrestled with, not in anger, but in joy. And I wondered, will I ever see him again? And if I do, will he still want to see me?
Sometimes time makes pain worse, and sometimes time starts to heal. But those years apart, they weren't quiet, not inside. Esau, what were those years like for you?
The days turned into months, the months into years, and he didn't come back. He was gone, and every day I lived without seeing him. I felt something tightening around my chest. I became a man with two minds. Part of me still carried the fire, still wanted to find him, still wanted to make him feel the sting I felt that day. But another part started to get tired of holding that anger, tired of waking up every day and still tasting bitterness like morning bread. I got married, I had children, life moved on, but the wound didn't. Sometimes I'd hear his name in the stories people told, the man who went far and grew rich, Jacob, the clever one, and I'd turn away because I didn't want to feel it again. But I always did, and I wondered, does he think about me at all? Does he remember my face when I begged for just one blessing? I tried to forget him, but you don't forget a twin. You can't forget someone who once shared your breath.
Jacob, all those years, gone from home, carrying the blessing, but also the burden. What happened to you?
I thought I was running into a new life, but really, I was running into a mirror. Everything I had done to Esau started to come back to me. My uncle tricked me, lied to me, used me. I worked 7 years to marry Rachel and woke up with Leah. Then I worked 7 more, and more after that. The deceiver was now the one being deceived, and every time I got hurt, every time someone took advantage of me, I remembered what I had done. I saw my brother's face, but something else started to happen too. God met me, not once, but again and again, in dreams, in quiet moments, in brokenness. He didn't leave me alone in my guilt. He wrestled with me. He changed my name, but before he changed my name, he changed my heart. And when I looked at my flocks, my children, my tents, I still felt incomplete because I knew there was still one person I had not faced, one wound I had not tried to heal, Esau, my brother, and I knew if I wanted peace, real peace, I had to go back. Even if he killed me, I had to face what I had broken.
Before Jacob could face Esau, he had to face someone else. It wasn't a prophet. It wasn't a man. It was God. Jacob, tell us about that night.
I had sent my wives, my children, my servants, everyone across the stream. I was alone for the first time in a long time. Just me. No one to trick, no one to run from, no one to impress. The night was cold, still, and then I felt a hand, not soft, not cruel, but strong, firm, wrestling me. I didn't know what was happening. I thought it was a man. But as the struggle went on, I realized this was not flesh and blood. He didn't speak. He just held me, twisted me, pressed me, and I fought back with everything I had. It wasn't a quick fight. We wrestled until the sky started turning gray, and still, I held on. Finally, he spoke. Let me go, for the day is breaking. But I said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Not like the blessing I stole, not from deception. This time, I wanted a blessing born from brokenness. He asked me, what is your name? And I said it, Jacob, the name of the trickster, the grabber, the one who held the heel. And then he said, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men, and have prevailed. And just like that, he touched my hip, and I limped. But I walked away with something better than speed. I walked away with a new name and a new heart. That's how I went to meet Esau, limping, but no longer lying.
Wow. Esau. That morning came. You saw him, the one you hadn't seen in years. You saw Jacob. What did you feel?
At first, I saw the dust rising from the horizon, camels, servants, children. Then I saw him. He was walking slowly, limping, head bowed. And he wasn't alone. He had sent gifts ahead. Servants, sheep, goats, everything. But none of that moved me. It was his eyes. They weren't the eyes of the boy who tricked me. They were the eyes of a man who had been broken and rebuilt. He bowed to the ground 7 times, like a servant, like someone waiting for justice. But I didn't come to give justice. I came to give something else. I ran. I didn't think. I just ran. I ran to my brother, and I hugged him. I held him close. Tears fell onto his shoulder. His tears. My tears. I don't know whose were whose. And I said to him, my brother, I missed you.
Interesting. Jacob, what did you see in that moment?
I saw a face of forgiveness, not a sword, not a clenched fist, not revenge. I saw love, and I said to him, to see your face is like seeing the face of God, because I had wronged him, and he embraced me. I had stolen from him, and he gave me peace. That's not human, that's heaven.
Esau, you had every right to stay angry, every right to carry bitterness. Why didn't you?
Because carrying that weight was killing me. Not all at once, but slowly. And I realized something. If I wanted to be free, truly free, I had to forgive the one who broke me. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's release. It doesn't mean what happened was right. It means I chose not to let it control me anymore. I forgave Jacob because God had also forgiven me in ways nobody saw, in ways I didn't even understand. And maybe, just maybe, that's what brotherhood is supposed to be. Not perfect, but possible.
Jacob, Esau, you both lived the kind of story most families don't survive. But here you are, still standing, still speaking, still brothers. Jacob, I'll start with you. What has all this taught you? About life, about people, about God?
I used to think life was about getting ahead, grabbing, outsmarting, winning. But I've learned that true blessing doesn't come through trickery. It comes through surrender, through being honest, through being broken, and letting God rebuild you. I hurt the one person who knew me best, and I thought it was over. But God didn't throw me away. He met me, wrestled me, changed me, and then he gave me the courage to face my past. I've learned that healing starts with confession, and that it's never too late to say, I was wrong.
Esau, you had the power to take revenge, but you chose mercy. What did those years teach you?
I learned that anger is a fire you feed yourself. And if you don't put it out, it'll burn through everything good in your life. For a long time, I thought justice meant getting even. But over time, I realized justice without grace can turn you into the very thing you hate. I lost years with my brother, but I wasn't going to lose myself too. When I let go of the grudge, I made space for peace. Forgiveness freed me. It didn't erase the past, but it gave me the strength to build a future.
To everyone listening today, some of you have been hurt by someone close, maybe a friend, maybe your own blood, and some of you have been the one who did the hurting. This story, Jacob and Esau, isn't just about twins. It's about all of us. It's about what happens when pain gets a voice and when grace gets the final word. You may not wrestle with an angel. You may not limp into forgiveness. But if you're honest, if you're willing to let go, God can still write healing into your story. Right now, there's someone you need to call, someone you need to forgive, or maybe someone you need to face and say, "I'm sorry." Don't wait. You don't have to stay stuck in what was. Because with God, even broken families can be restored. Esau, Jacob, thank you for your honesty, your story, and your courage.
Thank you for letting us speak.
And thank you for listening.
This was the story of two brothers, one blessing, one wound, and one reunion that changed everything. If this spoke to you, don't just sit with it. Do something. This is the Bible Character Podcast. I'm Delight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.